don't think guys have to be good at all this stuff. I think you just need one thing you're good at, right? I'm great at sales, and that's it.
If lack of information was the reason why people aren't succeeding, then everyone would be succeeding as soon as the internet came out.
There's just like that sort of fear of failure. People are so scared that they're going to fail that they never end up actually trying.
Right. This is really hard, and I'm willing to do this hard work, and I'm excited about that because this is why I'll win and while everyone else will fail. The harder something is, the more exciting I get about it because the less likely anyone is to follow me into there. Welcome back to the A-Lister Show, where we bring you movers and shakers, entrepreneurs, people doing interesting things. Today's guest is no different. We have Cory Porter. Cory, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm doing great.
All right. So tell us what you do.
Yeah, man. So, in high ticket sales, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've built up, a fairly large name for myself in the sales industry. Started out, like a lot of other guys, where I had no idea what I wanted to do in life, and kind of had my own journey to get to that point where, now I'm able to take care of myself and support my family and, my parents and give them the life that they've always wanted.
What is high ticket sales, by the way?
Yeah, so high ticket sales is interesting. It's basically dealing with any sort of sale for a high ticket offer, whether that be a car or, some sort of service. It could be some coaching. It could be as simple as a mortgage. It could be anything that's typically going to cost anywhere from, I'd say anything upwards of $1,000 to $2,000, preferably $10,000 to, $100,000. It would be ideal target, but it's anything that's going to take some sort of, time for the client or prospect to really mull over. Anything that people would typically want to think about, right, I would usually describe as a high ticket sale.
Right. So on one end, you have walking into CVS and buying some toothpaste, which doesn't take much consideration or thinking, right? On the other end, you have a $10,000 product that may get them some result, and then that's where maybe you need a specialist that's familiar with dealing with these kinds of products, so you can teach people and actually help closing deals. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, 100%. In the same way that you wouldn't go to your local CVS to ask the pharmacist for hey, so what should I do about this root canal? They're like, no, I'm going to go to see a doctor.
Right.
And if you're dealing with, hey, I'm going to buy this product because I believe it's going to make me an extra $100,000 next year.
Yeah.
But maybe it costs $5,000 or $10,000. That's where that person is going to be like myself to step in and kind of fill the gap and really correlate the cost with the actual result and the benefit.
Right. Okay. So what kind of products do you sell? What kind of stuff? How do you make $10,000 on a sale? How does it even happen?
Well, I've made much more than that, but it's definitely going to be something that it varies from, client to client, and it varies from product to product. So I've dealt with, guys like Michael Surtain, Dan Bilzerian, Justin Waller. I've dealt with guys all overseas in Dubai and New Zealand, some of the biggest fitness guys in the industry like Joseph Rakic, Josh Mooney, Sam Ratamatovokey. And all of these guys have different things that they're selling. Some of them are selling, things you call software as a service. Mm-hmm. Some of them are selling actual, coaching opportunities and one-on-one mentorships. Some of them are selling programs. It could be anything, but it's going to be filling some sort of void for that, prospect or that customer or a person like you or me really wants to change some piece of their life. They want to make more money. They want to get better shape. They want to solve their relationship or their marriage. It could be anything. And that's where someone like me comes in to really find, are you a good fit? Is this something that can help you? And if it does make sense for you to do it, then let me help you kind of get across the line so that we can, get you those results you're looking for.
Yeah, totally. So if I wanted to make money and I wanted to sell a high ticket product, say something for $10,000, what kind of advice would you give to me to help me close more deals and make more money?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would say start learning the actual sales process, because a lot of people think they can just jump on the phone and say, hey, so this is what it is. Do you want to buy it? And maybe 1 out of 20 guys will say yes. You always have that one hot lead. But the 90% of the time, you're going to have to take them through some objections. You're going to have to get through some of the, smoke screens that they give. So the first thing I would tell anybody is if they wanted to learn how to sell products like that, they should get into some sort of sales. Anything. I don't care if you're going door to door selling solar, if you're cold calling, which I think is great for guys to kind of build up a little bit of a thicker skin, get some FUs on the board.
Those are important.
And then, from there, then once you've kind of built up a little bit of, thicker skin, you're kind of used to people telling you no, it doesn't really faze you. Then start developing more of the actual, skill set behind it. How do you overcome some of those objections? And that's all going to be through repetition and experience. So if you're never going to be okay with that, then you're never going to be good at sales.
Right.
You're going to have to build up that sort of thick skin to get over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So take us back and tell us how you got into this and how did you get in the industry?
Yeah, man. So I started off like a lot of dudes, completely broke. I was basically living out of my car. I was going to shop, at the 99-cent store. I was pushing shopping carts.
I mean, I still go to the dollar store. But well, now it's like the $2 store or something.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get paid less than what I got paid legally. But yeah, man, I was stocking shelves of fruit, pushing shopping carts till 1 or 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And
how old were you then?
I was 19, 20 years old. Yeah. So I realized at the time, like, this is amazing. I got $200. I can go buy an iPod, which was cool at the time. But, that was what I thought was cool until I started seeing guys, driving by in a Ferrari. And this idea that somebody had, $200,000 to spend on a car when I couldn't spend $20 on lunch just blew my mind. And I knew there had to be some other way out there to make money. So kind of doing that. And I, saw an ad one day for job openings at a bank. And I thought, I need more money. Banks have money. Maybe they have my money. So I applied and I got in, typical 9-to-5 job working as a banker. Did that, kind of kept getting promoted every 6 months, realizing I was really good at sales. I was just great at converting. So did that, kept getting promoted through the ranks, and eventually realized that, hey, I'm making 6 figures a year, but this isn't the life I want to live. I don't want to do this 9-to-5 thing, right? Clocking in, having to button up that tie, that top button and squeeze it tight was just the worst thing in the world for me.
Especially with a neck like yours.
Yeah, it was pretty much suffocating every single day and then paying to do it. So yeah, I just realized that wasn't what I wanted to live like anymore. I hated being so, at the mercy of somebody else, and constantly feeling like if I messed up, that might be the end of it. Yeah. So I, kind of went off in a slightly different direction, realizing I was good at sales. I started going off on my own into the mortgage business. Did very, very well there. I had some amazing months. I had months where I was making, I think my biggest month I made about $120,000. So crazy success. Yeah, in a month.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So I was absolutely crushing it in the mortgage industry. And that was still too corporate for me, right? It was still at the mercy of somebody else. I still had to clock in, clock out. I still had to...
You had to act a certain professional way probably.
Yeah.
Right? Like you couldn't really be yourself.
I really felt like I still had this cloud over me where I had to mitigate what I said to try to, appease customers. I couldn't be myself authentically.
Right.
And I still hated that. So getting from that and saying, okay, well, what else could I do? What else could I sell? It was basically that. Do I sell some private jets or boats, or what do I sell? And, I ran into some pretty crazy dudes, some guys that you're familiar with. Like I said, the Bozarians, the Michael Sartains. I've been on FaceTimes with these guys. I've been in group calls with these guys. I've hung out with these guys. And
if I FaceTime Dan Bozarian, will I get a beard like that too?
Yeah, probably. I think it's pretty much contagious. Like you just catch it through the phone. But yeah, man. So I've met with some of these guys. I ended up working with Michael Sartain, who's one of the biggest ones down there in that sort of online industry. Kind of the circle of all those dudes, and started working directly with them, and realized that hey, I could absolutely crush.
What were you doing with them?
It's basically just helping run the high ticket sales team. So basically sit on these calls, make sure those leads converted, closing them out. And I was bringing in 30, 40, 50K a month. Yeah. I had other months where I made, $60,000 to $90,000 in a single month.
Wow.
So it was completely life-changing where I didn't have to, really appease anybody else. I didn't have to change how I talked. I didn't have to watch my cuss words. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to act a certain way. I could just actually be myself.
Yeah.
So that was the most refreshing piece, and finding that and realizing that I could live a life better than most doctors or realtors or surgeons really even live, but doing it for myself on my own timetable, on my own schedule, take a day off whenever I want to, go to the gym whenever I want to, help out my dad, just actually being able to be there for my family completely changed my life.
Yeah. That 9 to 5 really is a soul sucker, isn't it?
It literally makes you not yourself. Yeah. It's one of those things where you can think that you're, enjoying life until you finally get that 1 week vacation that they approved you for, that you had to ask for months in advance.
Yeah.
And then you're on that vacation, it takes like 3 or 4 days for you to finally relax.
Yeah.
And I think that little window right there, right before your vacation's over and before you go back, is where you finally start feeling like yourself.
Yeah.
But that's how you should feel all the time. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be, acting this like little puppet 90% of the year just to try to enjoy your life for 5 or 10%.
Yeah. And for me, the 9 to 5 thing, one of the worst things, I felt claustrophobic when I go into like my office job. I had an office job before, and I felt like somebody was telling me that I couldn't leave. Someone told me that I had to raise my hand to go to the bathroom. Someone was telling me I had to, beg to go to the doctor. I had to feel bad about going to doctors. It's just like they own you. They own you for 50% of your waking hours.
Yeah, easily.
And as a result, they own your life. And the worst part is, they control how much you earn. So, if they give you a $100,000 salary, you might make a 10% increase per year if you're lucky. But you'll never double your salary or triple your salary, quadruple your salary. You just don't have that power. Whereas if you go to work for yourself, no one's going to tell you how much you can earn. It's completely up to you. It's up to your creativity, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. No.
And some people, obviously, like the 9 to 5, a lot of people do it. I did it. You did it. And I think we have to do it sometimes. I came up with this phrase in order to help me cope, which was called financing my dreams. So while I was in my job, I was basically using my salary to finance my dreams, which was start my own business.
Nice.
So that's something that I was doing to kind of help me cope with it. But
yeah.
So $90,000 a month in sales you were making. How many hours were you working to get that kind of money?
Now, I'll be honest, I was working a lot.
Yeah.
No, but I still squeezed in time for the gym. I still squeezed in time for family. I still squeezed in time to go to church. But yeah, it was, wake up. I was on calls by around like 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. I'd go most of the day, take maybe an hour or two in the middle of the day to go, get lunch, do some laundry, like a little stuff around the house. And, those are actually somewhat enjoyable for me. I don't know why, but just like having some daily chores to do, because I could easily just pay somebody else to do it. But it's nice to kind of do those things. I guess I grew up doing them. So doing that, take more calls. I'll be on back-to-back calls.
How many calls a day would you do?
It really depends on how many I want to do that day. But I'd say on an average day, I'm on somewhere between like 5 to 10 hours a day.
Okay.
Of back-to-back calls.
So like 5 calls a day, would that be?
Yeah, I'd say somewhere. So about like 5 actual calls, and those calls typically run about an hour and a half each.
Okay.
So, but in those, 5 calls, I'd leave about 10 slots open. Some of them, take a little bit longer than others.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's somewhere around like 5 calls a day. Sometimes maybe 6, 7. It would be a longer day. Mm-hmm. But all that being said, I'm not working, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
If I wanted to leave for the day, I can.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go to the gym, I can.
Well, that's one thing about sales jobs is when I got my first sales job, I used to work at like a clothing store. I was working at like Abercrombie and Fitch. And one day I walked out to get my phone because when I turned 18, my mom says I had to get my own cell phone. So I went to go to the cell phone kiosk and the guy was like, hey, do you, hey, we're looking for salespeople. Do you like sales? I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I got to try. And the one differentiator that got me into sales was it didn't matter how many clothes I folded in an hour. I still got paid $7.50, which was minimum wage at the time. But in sales, if I wanted to work harder, I could be in control of my paycheck. And that was the first like light bulb moment I had, which that's kind of what made me fall in love with sales in the beginning, which is like, even if you are now in control. If you want to do 5 sales calls per day, you can. If you want to do 1 or 2 per day, but you're going to be able to write your own paycheck.
Yeah.
Depending on how good you are and how hard you're willing to work.
Yeah.
Which is what makes sales like a really beautiful thing for people to get started.
You mean you weren't one of those models that just stood at the front and flexed all the time?
For a season I was.
I've seen you, man. You're shredded.
Well, they would give you like an outfit. I had my shirt on, but they would give you like an outfit and you like stand out front, and it was actually a pretty fun job. But $7.50 an hour wasn't really cutting.
Yeah, I think I got paid like $6.95 or something like that, 99-cent start.
Yeah,
those are the good days. But yeah, man. I mean, those sales jobs, it's really that first eye-opening situation where like, oh, I can make more than just what these people say I'm worth per hour.
Exactly.
And honestly, like going back to even thinking about it now, I'm sure you probably like you get somewhat heated like I do. The fact that somebody looked at me and was like, he's worth $7
Yeah.
for an entire hour of this man's time.
Yeah.
I mean, with today's inflation, that's a little different, but that's not, I don't even think that's a Carl's Jr. burger.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you can't even go get lunch for what you were worth an hour of.
Someone's going to tell you how much you're worth, and yeah, they basically can own you for that time.
Yeah.
Like, they get to tell you what to do, and you don't get to say anything about it.
What to wear, how to talk,
Yeah.
what words to use. You know, if you do something wrong, you could be fired immediately. The at-will employment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The fact that you have to feel bad about going to the bathroom or taking a day off because you have some family issues, and you know, you're like, oh, am I going to have a job when I get back here?
Yeah, some people like it. You know, some people like it. My wife has a 9 to 5. Also, she works as a software engineer, and she makes decent money, and she likes the stability, which, you know, more power to you. You know, some people, it provides them what they need. But others, a lot of other people that maybe want to figure something else out. You know, I think sales is a good first step in that direction for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you currently doing now? Did you go out and start your own business?
Yeah. So we started my own business. It's basically very simple. I'm sure you've seen some of the other people that have taught sales online. Some of their styles, not quite 100% of the direction that I'm very, very like no filter. This is the way things are. This is what actually works, rather than, you know, let me hold your hand and kiss your ass and make you feel good about yourself. Yeah. Right. It's, you know, we're here for results. So basically what we did is we started, you know, our own coaching program. We're teaching guys how to actually go from not knowing anything about sales to becoming a 6 or even 7 figure earner, where they can go out there and within 1 to 2 years be making 6 or even 7 figures if they're willing to dedicate themselves to actually learning the craft and getting good at it.
So what kind of sales are you teaching?
Yeah, so any kind of sales, really. So if they're looking at selling insurance, if they're a realtor, if they are, you know, selling software, if they're selling software as a service, if they're selling their own coaching program, if they're a personal trainer, sales is going to follow a similar pathway across every single product. Yeah. You're going to have the same sort of, you know, trajectory that you're going to take every single client through, but the things that you discuss will be slightly different. Right. You know, they're all going to have their same objections. They're all going to have their same questions. They're all going to have the same sort of, you know, landmines that are laid across for you. But learning how to overcome all of those, in my opinion, once you've learned that perfectly, you can teach or sell anything. You know, I could go be the #1 sales guy at the, you know, Ferrari dealership tomorrow, or I could go decide to sell planes, or I could go sell insurance, and I would be the #1 insurance sales guy within 1 to 2 months. Wow. It's not a difficult process once you understand the actual process underneath. But learning that and perfecting it and really getting that thick skin to being able to go implement that correctly, I think that's the difference there. So what we're teaching guys to do is basically unlearn a lot of their bad habits that they may have learned, you know, telling people that they're calling to follow up with them, some of the most simple things, to maybe how they're actually using their own tonality or even body language on a Zoom call. Yeah. You know, fixing all the most simple things to the most advanced and teaching them how to go through that sales process correctly. So depending on what they're in, we'll really target more in on that and specialize there. But depending on the guy, if they're just looking to get into sales in general, or they wanted to get into high ticket sales, then we have our own connections and we can kind of help pair them up and eventually place them into, you know, an offer where it would be a good fit for them. They can go right off the bat, start making 10, 20K a month. Yeah.
What do you think is one of the biggest mistakes you see when you start working with somebody to help teach them sales?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I see people do is overthinking things. And people don't take action for a lot of reasons, and usually the biggest is they have this cause of paralysis by analysis. You heard that before?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you know, the guys will look at it and go, "Hey, well, can I really make 20K a month? Like, I've worked a normal job. I've stocked shelves. I did, you know, I worked at a warehouse. I made $4,000 last month. How the fuck am I gonna make $20,000 next month?" And you know, I apologize for cussing.
You're good.
So, you know, it's one of those things where I think people overthink how hard something really is to do because they've never done it. Yeah. It's just like the guys that say like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym once I, you know, lose a little bit more weight, then I'll feel better." Or, you know, "I'm going to go talk to that girl, but she probably will say no, so there's no point in even talking to her. Right? And guys are, they'll kind of wuss out over a lot of things when they should be grabbing their balls and just going after it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest mistake I see guys in sales doing is they won't go learn, they won't go get better, they won't try new things because they're already assuming that they're going to fail.
Yeah. Where do you think a lot of that lack of confidence comes from? Like, why do people have that?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of reasons. That's a lot to unpack. I mean, part of that's just how they're raised. I think part of that is how society has taught men to be nowadays. I mean, how many men do you see walking around that are strong, capable, in shape, making good money, taking care of their family, and they have their ish together, right? Yeah. It's very rare nowadays.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
Well, on social media, it seems like everybody does, right?
Yeah, well, but everybody pretends on social media. I mean, you could run into somebody on social media and it's very easy to fake this dream life.
Yeah.
Where it seems like they're always on vacation and they're hanging out with the most beautiful girls and they're having the best dinners at the nicest restaurants and they know all these cool people. And in reality, I know a lot of these people and they're miserable.
Yeah.
They hate their lives and they're calling me for advice at 1:00 in the morning because they got too messed up. Social media is completely different than real life.
Yeah.
And I think people should really stop caring so much about how everybody else is living their own life and worry more about what they can do to improve their own. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to use theirs as motivation, because watching this guy drive by in the Lamborghini gets you hyped up, makes you want to go kick ass, then that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to look at it and go, well, I'm never going to be like that, or wow, his life seems so cool, and you're just going to sit there and woe is me about it, then your life's never going to get better.
Yeah. Well, the Rocky training recap is only 30 seconds. But it recaps like 6 months of work before a fight.
Yeah.
So it all looks fun when you have the theme music playing in the background and the fancy cameras and stuff. But in reality, it's not fun and it's hard work. I remember when I first got into martial arts, I'm like, this isn't like the Rocky recap at all. Like this sucks. Like,
why'd you hit me so hard?
Yeah. Like, did Rocky go to sleep with like back pain and like neck pain all the time, like and headaches? Like, yeah, he did. But they don't show that stuff in the recap.
Yeah.
So it's like all you see is like the motivating to
pounding eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
And going out and running sweats. And exactly. It's a nice cool jog.
Yeah. But the Rocky recap only takes 30 seconds, but it represents months of suffering that is hard and not interesting to watch when you have to actually watch it in that kind of a thing. So people don't talk about that stuff as much on social media, but it is people post their wins and their celebrations and stuff. But like I just posted a video and photos of me winning an award, but I promise I didn't post the 10 sales calls a day I was doing for 3 months straight and every single webinar and every single phone call. Like that's the boring shit, but people like to obviously post the fun stuff because that's what people, that's what gets reactions. That's what gets views and likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all want to watch the fun stuff. They all want the cherry at the end of the rainbow, but
exactly.
Nobody wants to actually go chase it.
Exactly. Yeah. I think a lot of people are afraid of the work and they underestimate how much the work takes because they just haven't done it, And so when people start doing something that's hard, they're very quick to just try the next thing because they didn't realize how hard it was going to be. And so they keep chasing thing after thing until they find something that they feel is easy enough to them to conquer. And then they never actually conquer anything because to conquer something, it takes you pushing through for months and months and years on end until you get some kind of result.
Yeah, I don't think guys understand. Life is supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be fun. The fact that you're having fun at all, amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be easy. The best things in life are going to come from you struggling, from staying up late at night, from working your ass off, from being tired, from being sore. Nothing good comes from easy things. Mm-hmm. Right? Easy times create soft men.
Yeah.
And a soft man is more dangerous than most because he's willing to do anything, whether he'll backstab somebody or cheat on somebody or cheat out his partners or steal money. That's what a soft man will do. A strong man will look at that and go, no, I can do this on my own. Mm-hmm. I can fix this. I could do better. I could improve. And that's what's going to create the guy to guy that you would ultimately want to be. Those guys you look up to online, I guarantee, unless you want to be, you know, some TikTok dancer and doing Fortnite stuff, then unless you want to be one of those, if you wanted to go become that successful guy that you see that's, you know, he's taking care of himself, he's making great money, he's dating beautiful women, he's traveling the world, he's doing all that stuff. He went through some of the hardest times you could never imagine.
Right.
And knowing that is going to lead to the life that you want, I think that should almost excite you.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be fulfilled, if you want to live the life you want, you're going to have to go struggle.
Yeah.
And that should be fun. That
Yeah.
should be the fun part.
Yeah. One really great quote I love to think about is, "This is really hard." I'm going to butcher it, but this is really hard, and I'm willing to do this hard work, and I'm excited about that because this is why I'll win and while everyone else will fail. So the harder something is, the more exciting I get about it, because the less likely anyone is to follow me into there.
Yeah.
And I, for example, recently accomplished something that I'm pretty proud of. I got this award. I got over 100 clients for my business, and I give away all of the knowledge of how I did it. Like, I have YouTube videos. I talk about it. I'm completely transparent about it. And some people ask me, like, aren't you worried that people are going to just copy what you did? No.
Because no one's going to do it.
Nobody will do it.
It's too hard.
It's too hard. Nobody will do it. I'm telling, like, they just won't. I'll give you the recipe. I'll tell you step by step what to do, but you won't do it.
Yeah.
You know, you may, and it's like the information already exists. If lack of information was the reason why people aren't succeeding, then everyone would be succeeding as soon as the internet came out. Because all the information is already available.
You could create your own Tesla if you wanted to.
Yeah. All I got to do
You could teach everybody I've got a $100,000 Mercedes outside. I'm wearing a $60,000 Patek. I could teach you how to do all this stuff today.
Yeah.
But you won't do it.
You won't do it.
There's no chance.
Why do you think that people don't? What do you think is the blocker then? Like, let's say that you want somebody to succeed and someone's your client. How would you take someone like that won't do what's required and get them that desired result?
So them actually wanting to do it, I think, has to come from within. And there's a lot of things that have happened to people that make them flip that switch. And I know one of them for a lot of guys, and this was mine, honestly, is heartbreak. You know, guys go through a really, really tough time where somebody just tears them in two. And that's what motivates us to go become better. It's, you know, I'll show them and I'll become so good one day. You'll just see. And that's what happens to a lot of guys. You know, some guys, it's out of frustration. They see other people living a life that they can't even possibly imagine. They see other, you know, maybe they necessity, you know, I think is another huge one. What if all of a sudden your dad, you know, my dad the other day just had a stroke. And, you know, what if all of a sudden you had to come up with $100,000 for this treatment because the insurance won't cover it? Would you be able to save your dad's life?
Oof.
Right? And that's something that, thank God, I can do. So that's one of those things where I think you really have to dig down and find a reason to go do the work.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of reasons people don't do the work because they're lazy, just intrinsically. They've never had a reason to go do hard things. They were raised that way. Other times they really are so scared of what other guys or girls are going to think about them. They're worried about what's, you know, oh, what are people going to say? They're going to say I'm cheesy or this is lame or, you know, you're who are you to even be giving me advice? But you've never even met these people. They're just random dudes on, you know, Autobot123 on social media or whatever the hell their name is, right?
Yeah.
So there's that fear of like public opinion from a public you don't even know and you've never met. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, there's just like that sort of fear of failure.
Yeah.
People are so scared that they're going to fail that they never end up actually trying.
Right.
But yeah, I think those are kind of like the 3 or 4 main reasons that guys, you know, typically take that next step to go become better. To move past whatever happened to them.
Yeah. So the heartbreak is a big one. I think, you know, one step above that is like the need for love, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big motivator. However, one thing I realized is that once I got married, all the energy that I spent chasing girls, I'm now able to focus on a bigger purpose,
right,
which is my business. Because there was a time when I'm single, right? And I'm going on dates, I'm looking for girls, I'm talking to girls, I'm like trying to buy the nice clothes, right? But when I'm married, I don't got to worry about that stuff as much because now we're like on this different mission. And all that energy that I was spending towards that stuff, I now get to focus on building a business. So that becomes like the different. It's almost like all that energy now gets reallocated into something else.
Yeah.
So I think one life hack is to get married. People don't realize. I got married pretty young. I got married at 26, I think. How old am I? I'm 30. I don't even know how old I am. I think I got married at like 20.
Yeah, I lost track around 32.
Every time I figure out my age, I have to like do math.
Pull out my driver's license.
Yeah. Okay, I'm 36, but I think I got married at, maybe I got married at 28, I think 28 or 29. And so I think like below 30 is kind of like young for a lot of guys. I don't know. For my friend group, it was. But as soon as I did that, like I said, just the whole like stress of, we were engaged for like 3 years too. So like from like 25, I was no longer really worried about trying to find a girl, and it was all my energy went into something different. So one life hack is having a partner that you can no longer have to go find a girl, right? Because you have that need met, now you can move on to the different need.
Right.
Another hack that some people talk about is like having a kid. Hack. Everything's like
no,
a hack.
I'm a little worried about that one.
Yeah, so I don't have.
I might have one or two running around somewhere.
Yeah, I don't have any kids. Are you married? You got a girl?
I'm not married. I have a girl. I may have one or two little ones running around somewhere out there. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, man, I 100%. I think I would really say that the guys that go get married, what they've done is what a lot of guys should be able to do, whether they're married or not. I would say like 95% of your effort should be focused on yourself.
Right.
Building your business, building your resources, building all that stuff. Because realistically, if they looked at the girls that they're dating in their mid-20s, they're not dating you because they think that you're the best guy in the world. They're dating you for, we say, your lifestyle.
Right.
What kind of life do they believe that you're going to be able to provide for them?
Right.
Are they able to have fun? Are they able to go to the cool restaurants? Are they, being treated well? Are you taking care of them? Are you, doing all the things that they want for themselves?
Right.
And if a guy could go work on himself, even for a year, and just go get in amazing shape, get a 6-pack, get some abs, get some arms on him, make some money, get a little bit of a nicer place, connect some with some really high status guys around him, go build a good social circle for himself. If he could go do just that in 1 year, the quality of women that he'd be able to pull would be so much higher.
Right.
So I think the guy's life is directly correspondent to the amount of effort he actually puts into himself. Because I think there's I don't know who the quote is by, but you could always chase money and never lose women, but you always lose money chasing women themselves. Yeah. Right. So if guys just focused on themselves and their business and their money and their fitness and everything else too, they would have all the choices they'd ever want. Mm-hmm. But if they go out there and they're trying to chase all these girls and try to look like the coolest guy online and have the best social media and let me go get the nicest car I can possibly afford, then they're probably going to lose all of the opportunities that they actually wanted because they're spending all this time trying to look the part rather than actually becoming it.
Yeah. It's about, you think about the analogy of a building or a plant. A tree, the deeper the roots grow, the more stronger the tree is going to be. The deeper the wider and the stronger the foundation, the more strong and the taller the building can grow. And so instead of spending the money on buying a car that you can't afford, or spending time chasing girls, when if you would spend time on yourself, which is developing your roots, developing a strong foundation, then you pretty much can have everything you want, including a lifestyle and the girls and everything else will come.
Yeah.
But the more time you spend on yourself, but if you just focus on that, then you're going to have a weak foundation and all that's going to go away. Your financial readiness is going to be at stake, and your own personal well-being and your own self-confidence, all these things in the long term, they are weaker because the foundation wasn't there.
Yeah, I think what they're looking for is fulfillment. This is actually one thing that I created a sort of loop around this in some of my sales calls that I teach to some of my guys, and it's called health, wealth, and relationships.
Yeah.
The reason I created that was because this is what men are actually looking for. Men aren't looking to be happy. Women want to be happy, and that's fine. But men typically want fulfillment. They don't want to be happy. Happy is a fleeting emotion. It's gone like that. Fulfillment is much stronger. It's so much deeper. And that really comes from those 3 tiers: health, wealth, and relationships. Now, health is typically, are you taking care of yourself? Are you going to the gym? Are you eating right? Are you in shape? Are you healthy? Are you doing any kind of drugs and alcohol? Are you ruining your health from the inside? Wealth, are you financially capable? Are you able to pay for your bills? Are you able to, go have some fun? Are you able to stack money away and invest and build up a future for yourself, build up this empire that you keep talking about wanting? And then, your relationships, and that really comes down to two things. One, like, who are the guys you spend the most time with, right? Who are those 1, 2, 3, 5 guys you actually spend time with in real life? And I'm talking about the guys, like, I have their phone number, and I know this person. Like, I could drop so many names right now. I have this guy's phone number. It doesn't matter. But who you actually spend time talking to, who do you actually spend time hanging out with in person?
Right.
And then the other part is, relationships with females. Now, whether that means one girl because you're a lucky guy and you found one beautiful girl that takes care of you and treats you right, or if you want the opposite and you want to have an abundance of beautiful women, that's awesome either way. But you should be able to say, I have all 3 of these things. Yeah. And if you do, you'll be fulfilled. But if you're missing in any one of these, you'll feel unfulfilled. And that's where a lot of guys start saying they're depressed.
Yeah.
I don't believe in depression. I'm very much on the train of, it is more of a mindset. It is more of a feeling.
Yeah.
Right? You could say, like, I'm depressed. Okay, well, I guarantee if you went and, watched your diet, went and got a 6-pack abs and started making 10, 20 grand a month, you probably wouldn't be depressed anymore.
Yeah.
I'd bet 100% of the time that's the case.
Yeah.
So if you're missing any one of these little pillars here, you'll start feeling that, like, depression setting in. And that's just your own brain telling you as a guy, you need to fix something.
Yeah.
Some piece of this is broken.
Yeah. And you look at some people and they're like, I'm depressed. I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Look at you. Like, you're fat, like, it's like you work at the dollar store, you're pushing carts, you drive a shitty car, like, you can't get a girl. I'd be depressed if I were you, right? And it's like, well, what are you doing about it? Well, I go home and I eat Cheetos and I play Call of Duty. Like,
the amount of guys I talk to that give me that exact answer.
Of course you're fucking depressed.
I smoke, and then I'm like, well, what do you do in your free time? Yeah, no, I do this. Okay, what about drugs? And I'll ask them, do you take any drugs? They're like, no, not really. I just smoke weed. I'm like, okay, well, how are you paying for the weed? Mm-hmm. Like, you're out there, you're smoking, you're hanging out with girls, spending money on them, you're partying with your boys, you're going to get a case of beer and sharing it together. Dude, like, you're not doing anything to improve your life. Of course you're depressed. Yeah. Like you said, you're fat, you're out of shape, you're not taking care of yourself. You look like you just rolled out of bed. Yeah. And if you're dating a 4, like, that's not my fault, right? You want to go date the 200-pound Bertha, that's cool, but, like, that's, of course you're depressed. Yeah. Guarantee if you gave yourself a hotter chick, you're making more money and you were in great shape, you wouldn't be depressed anymore.
Well, then the pharmaceutical response to that is just take this pill.
Well, yeah.
And what's crazy is, like, they say, it's like, oh, I'm on antidepressants for 10 years. And it's like, okay, how's that working for you? I'm still depressed. I'm like, you're telling me that you're on this freaking pill for 10 years and you're still depressed. Maybe the pill's not working. Maybe you should try something else. And the pharmaceutical companies, like, that's not even the companies. I don't know who's behind this machine, but at one point, I'm gonna share a story. At one point, I went to a therapist or whatever, a psychologist. I must have been 19 or 20 years old. And this is a crazy story in my mind, just, like, flipped some switches for me, where I had a 15, 20-minute conversation, maybe been 30 minutes, with this lady, a doctor. And she had me fill out this form, and she asked me some questions. And she says, okay, after my assessment of you is that you have bipolar disorder. And I recommend this medication. And I started, like, I got a little upset. I was like, I don't have fucking bipolar. She's like, see, there you go. But, like, it wasn't like that. But it's like,
the proof.
Yeah, she's like, yep, see, there you go. You reacted, so now you're bipolar. But I'm like, I had a 30-minute conversation with this person, and who knows nothing about me. I filled out this form, and she wants to put me on these, like, serious medications.
It's going to alter your mind forever.
Alter my life forever, right? Like, my receptors are going to be different. Like, everything about my life will be different if I had accepted this woman's assessment of me and started taking these heavy medications for bipolar. I'm not bipolar. And I just think how many other people walk into a doctor's office and they give them this assessment, and all of a sudden now they're on, now they've had this label: you're depressed, you have anxiety, you are a person that has this thing, you are a disease, right? And here's how you fix it: take these pills. I mean, if I ask a mechanic, how to fix my car, he's gonna, look at the engine, or, right. If I ask someone that specializes in, like, whatever, transmission, how to make my car go faster, all you need is different transmission. If I ask someone that specializes in tires, how to make my car go faster, all you need is different tires with this different grip. If I ask someone that specializes in, like, gas or whatever, it's like, oh, you need this special gas that's gonna make your car go faster, right? But so that doctor only knew how to fix my problem using drugs, right? Which is wild. So we have to figure out how to solve our own problems, but more importantly, how to fix the cause of the problem and not just the symptom. One other quick story. So I had back pain for 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. And I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, finally, I'm going to go to the doctor, check it out. They x-rayed me. I went to physical therapy. I was doing, whatever, all the cupping and the acupuncture and the massage and the physical therapy and the strengthening and the stretching and this and that. And one day I went on vacation to Brazil and I slept on a different bed. And then I woke up and I had no pain. And then like the whole week I was on vacation, I didn't have back pain. I was like, what the hell? And I went back to my house. I slept in my bed for one night. I was like, my back hurt again. I'm like, holy shit, my back pain is because of my bed. Not at one point did any of the doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage, none of them tried to ask me or find the root cause of my pain. All they wanted to do was treat my pain. And we have to be in charge of our own well-being. We have to find the root cause of that pain, because treating the pain is often not going to be enough. Because if you go to bed and you re-injure yourself because your bed's too soft, then it doesn't matter what kind of Band-Aids you put on it. You're going to have to put another Band-Aid the following day. And so that was something really powerful for me. We have to figure out the cause of the pain and not just the symptoms. And that the healthcare system is completely fucked up and they just want to sell you Band-Aids.
Yeah, I saw this really interesting. It was like actually an undercover sort of like, journalist. And he went into 10 different psychologists or psychiatrists, whatever their offices are called. I'm not in medicine. But he went into 10 different offices and he gave them all the exact same symptoms that he was having. I'm feeling this, I can't focus all this time. And he got, out of the 10 different offices, he got 6 different diagnoses and I think 7 or 8 different medications.
Wow.
And all of them subscribed medications to him or prescribed medications. So not a single one out of 10 different offices said, hey, you know what? Let's come in for a second visit. Or why don't we look into this a little bit more? Every single one prescribed him something on the first visit.
Incredible.
And 7 or 8 different medications.
Wow.
Some of them were bipolar. Some of them were ADHD. Some of them were depression. There was all sorts of, different diagnoses. And that's insane to me, because that's, hey, I've never met you before. And after 30 minutes to an hour with you, I'm going to prescribe you this medication that I know is going to give you all sorts of side effects. And you're going to be hooked on it because now mentally you believe, because I'm the doctor.
Yeah.
And I've just told you have this problem and it's never going to go away.
Right.
So now you've just handicapped yourself by even going to that. I'll never go to a doctor again for anything general medicine. If I break my arm, I'll go to a doctor. If I snap a tendon or if I need surgery on something, I get a hernia, I'll go to a doctor. General health, I'm never going to a doctor for anything like that ever again, because they don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about your diet or nutrition. They don't know anything about your mental health.
Yeah.
They're just there to prescribe medications and fill out an order.
Yeah.
So, I'm never going to do anything like that. And giving you somebody medication, it's kind of like the max vaccines, if we can even talk about that, right? Putting what would you call it? Not a spare, but like fixing a flat, right? If you had a flat tire, you pull it off on the side of the road, you plug it with one of those little fix a flat things that cost $5 at the gas station, but it keeps popping out and you keep getting a flat tire. You wouldn't keep sticking the same thing back in there. No. That's like taking the same medicine for a decade,
right? And
expecting that all of a sudden your depression is going to be gone. If it doesn't fix it, then that's probably not the problem,
right?
Right. The whole point of health is to try to fix it so you're living an optimal health life.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, 100%. I don't think guys should be on depression medication. I don't think most of guys actually even have depression. I think they're just feeling depressed because their life is crap.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything to fix it.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of stuff is just temporary. A lot of it's just temporary. And when you label yourself as someone with a disease that's and psychological, then now it becomes almost a crutch. Well, I can't finish this assignment because I have ADHD.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not supposed to be able to finish this assignment because I'm someone that has ADHD. So I'm like, it's okay for me not to clean my room or not to do this because I have ADHD. So that's why I don't. It's okay
I can't go work. I can't lose weight because I have a thyroid issue.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't. I can't do that because I already have a job. So I can't go do something else that could potentially make me 3 times as much.
Yeah. Those limiting beliefs is huge. One thing I'm learning as to I'm a coach also. I help people with their businesses.
Nice.
I help people grow their businesses, with their marketing. But it's more. I'm realizing now that the people don't have a problem necessarily with their business. They have a problem with their mindset. And a lot of people, the biggest thing that I can do, and I heard this term the other day and it kind of summed up really well. A big part of what I do is belief brokering. So I'm basically selling belief, and I'm transferring belief from one entity to another. And so if I can get you to believe that you can achieve this result, then not only, then it really just removes all the resistance of you wanting to work with me.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you believe that you can do it. And second of all, when you believe you can do it, then everything changes. Everything you can get alignment behind a particular goal because now you believe. So one of the biggest things I can do is to help you believe that you can actually achieve this goal. And if you do, then in a sales environment, it's very, very powerful. Because if I can let you believe that you can actually do it, like one of the biggest things one of my coaches has done for me was to help me believe in myself. Because I had never made, until I did, $30K in a month. Right? And then one day I did, and like, okay, well, that's my new baseline,
almost
now I haven't hit 100K a month yet, but like once I hit that, then, but I need to believe that it's possible before I make a plan. Because if I don't even believe it's possible, why am I going to go make a plan to make it happen?
Yeah, it's only scary the first time you do anything. I tell guys all the time, I'm like, hey, you know what? Are you scared when you get in your car to drive to work now?
No.
Half the time you're on TikTok or you're changing the station. You ever space out and just get to work. You don't even know how you got there.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, how the did I get here?
Yeah.
That's autopilot now.
Yeah.
Something that the first time you used to do it, you were so focused in. And you're like gripping the steering wheel and you're like leaving handprints in it and your dad's telling you like to slow, to easy, relax. Everybody freaks out the first time they do anything. Mm-hmm. But with a little bit of repetition and you get some skill and some experience under your belt, it's not so scary anymore.
Right.
So, guys, hey, I'm scared. I'm scared to do this. So, what I hate, guys, is I see guys handicap themselves because of the situation they're in. And what I mean by that is we'll have dudes that, let's say they're making $4 or $5 grand a month. They want to make 10, 20 grand a month, right? Which is very doable. Let's say they want to make 20 grand a month. But they've only got 5 grand in the bank, and let's say the program that they need to get there is 5 grand, right? Hypothetically speaking. Now, could they put that on a credit card and pay it off over 2 or 3 months, but then they could make 20 grand a month and they'd be way ahead of where they are right now? Sure. But that fear of, oh, well, but I only have 5 grand. Dude, you only have 5 grand. You're broke. There is no downside. You either have 5 grand or no grand. You're completely broke either way.
Yeah.
That 5 grand, it doesn't, like, I couldn't fix all 4 tires on my car for 5 grand, right? If you wanted to go live that life, then you should go after it. Now, I'm not saying just start buying, a crap ton of meme coins and just start throwing your money to the windmill, but to take a chance on yourself, I will always advise a guy to bet on themselves before they bet on their company, before they bet on, some meme coin to take off or to bet on the government.
Yeah.
Right? Always bet on yourself. If you see somebody else doing something and you're even remotely positive you could do it, you should go try.
Yeah. So what it comes then is I have this 5 grand, I'm down on my last 5 grand in my bank account, and you're telling me that if I give you this 5 grand, then I'm going to make 20K a month. If I 1,000% believed that was going to be true, then I would have no doubt giving it to you.
Right.
But the reason why I'm not going to give it to you is because I don't believe you for some reason. And it may be either that I don't believe that what you're teaching me is the right way to do it.
Right.
It could be that I don't believe that I am smart enough or technical enough or whatever it is. I don't have the skills to do it. Or there could be some kind of external factor like the economy is bad or it's an election year or whatever it is that's preventing me from doing it. And so your job, our job as coaches or salespeople is to help break down those limiting beliefs and so that they can have the confidence in themselves to be able to do that. And a lot of times just by having that confidence, all of a sudden now it is possible.
Right. And a big part of that, as long as you're doing it in the right way, right? Like I'm not selling, go sell, some sort of Herbalife or some multi-level marketing scheme to people. But if you believe in what you're doing, and you are making good money doing it, I think it's a disservice to not help other guys do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? If I can teach somebody to make 20 grand a month, because it is that easy to do, and all they have to do is actually believe in themselves, then I will fight tooth and nail to actually see this guy go live a better life for himself. Because I know the end result comes out to a month, 2 months down the road, him calling me, us becoming best friends, him wanting to come hang out and have lunch, go out, go take the car out for a ride. He's going to want to do, everything he can to blast my name from the rooftops because of how his life changed.
Yeah.
And I know that's the result.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you really believe in what you're doing and it actually is a service to people that is going to change their lives for the better, you should be fighting for it. You shouldn't be upset that they have some sort of limiting beliefs. You should be trying to help them over that.
Yeah.
Because we all started there at some point, right?
Have you heard of the analogy of like the drink the water?
Where you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it?
Kind of. So it's like something different. But it's like, okay, it's like, you're traveling, me and my friends are traveling through the desert, and we see a guy that is on the ground, crawling, dying of thirst. And me and my friends, we got plenty of water. So we walk up to this guy and we say, hey, man, do you want some water? The nearest town's like, 4 miles. Like, you're probably going to die of dehydration right here if you don't drink this water. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm going to make it. And he keeps trying to call. And he's like, hey, man, no, I don't think you realize, like, we have, like, tons of water here. You could just take some. You could just drink it. Like, no charge, just take it, He's like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm strong. I'm fit. I can do it. Man. Drink this fucking water. If you don't drink this water, you are going to fucking die. So if you believe that you have something that can help them, that can save their life, that can get them what they want, then it's our responsibility to make them drink that water.
Yeah. No,
as salespeople,
100%.
as coaches, as whatever it is you want to call it. But we have a responsibility to do whatever we can in our power to help this person if we believe, and the big if is if we believe that what we have can get them what they want.
Yeah, because I think that's just being a good human in general, right? Like, you would help your family if you knew they needed help, right? If your wife broke down on the side of the road, you'd immediately drop whatever you're doing to go take care of her. Mm-hmm. The same should be done for these other guys that are in the position that maybe you or I were in 5-10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, I wouldn't recognize myself, right? But I wish that somebody had pulled me aside. And eventually someone did. Someone did actually kind of look at me and, hey, you know what, you're really good at this. We give you a shot. But everybody deserves that shot. And sometimes it does take a little bit of a push to force them to invest in themselves, to force them to go work out, to go, train, to go, help themselves in some way. But yeah, you should 100% be pushing guys to go better themselves.
Right.
And there's always going to be a little bit of fear. There's always going to be a little bit of hesitation, especially for things that are new to them. Mm-hmm. But it's 100% your obligation to kind of help guys like that, to help them over the line, to work on themselves, to make more money, to give themselves that life they always keep telling themselves they want, that all those, trending memes that they keep posting on their Instagram telling everybody about how they need to hustle, but they're doing the same thing 9 to 5 every day. Hey, well, why don't we break out of that?
Yeah.
And go do something new now?
Yeah. Yeah. So I recently, and having a plan is so important, right? Like, you have to have a plan to get you from where you are to where you want to go. I recently had this epiphany because I'm at this level now, but I want to get to 100K per month in my business.
Right.
I'm not quite there yet, but only last week did I actually sit down and I did the math of what it would take to get me to 100 grand. And it just blew my mind how unprepared I was to get to that mark. Because in order for me to have that, I would need to have X amount of appointments, but I didn't even have enough salespeople to handle X amount of appointments. So, and it's I need to have X amount of sales, but at X amount of sales, my salespeople aren't making enough commission for it to be worth it. And then it's I was doing all these things and my current business model wasn't even ready to have that. But a lot of people say that, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be a millionaire. And then you ask them what their plan is and they don't even really have a plan.
Yeah, they just want those things.
Yeah, they just want, and even me, and I thought I was a pretty savvy, smart guy, and here I am, I have this goal, and I've been saying that I want this goal for the past 6 months or something like that, and then only recently that I sit down and I just look at the numbers and I just said, man, this actually needs some, if this is my goal, I need to realign some things in order to help me get there. So having a plan is super important, and you gotta it's a math problem. A lot of people don't realize it's just business is just a math problem, and there's how many leads you're getting, what's your cost per lead, what's your booking ratio, what's your conversion ratio, what's your show ratio, what's your upsell ratio, but all of these things that can be optimized at actions at each stage, but it's really just, a math problem at the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, but I think a lot of guys overthink to the point where, as you said earlier, like that shiny object syndrome. Yeah. There's always something easier. I don't think guys have to be good at all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I think you just need one thing you're good at, right? I'm great at sales, and that's it. Organization, not my strong suit, right? So there's a lot of things that guys that, they overthink, like, I need to be good at, as you said, like, how do I keep track of the KPI? How do I keep track of my sales optimization? What's my return on ad spend, my ROAS? What are Google ads doing in conversion to Facebook meta advertisements? What's my go-how level looking like as far as conversions? Where are these leads coming in from? What's my traffic like on my Instagram or my YouTube? All of that stuff's great. You don't have to be good at all of it. You need to be good at one thing, whether that is sales. Awesome. Then you're the number one sales guy. Sweet. You build out the sales team. Find other people. Yeah. Right? That's one thing I think guys try to do too, is they try to do everything on their own. Right? I'm 100% stubborn like that. I'm the guy that, my girl could be offering me help in the kitchen with something, and I'm like, no, I got it. Don't worry. Right? Because I'm a man and I can do it. But it's okay to get help. Yeah. Right? And I think having a coach, having a mentor, having someone that's already done things that you want to do to help you do them is 100% worth the effort or the investment or the time. Yeah. Right. And trying to do things on your own in a business, like you said, you didn't have the sales people set up. You didn't have the, conversion, ratios kind of figured out. You didn't have the numbers figured out. Could you do that all on your own? Or would it be easier to maybe get, a couple more teammates to come on board to get you to $100,000 a month? Yeah. Quicker.
I think one thing too is, I think you can get to a certain level with that one skill. Like, you can get very far. You can get farther than most people want to get with one skill. And then at a certain point, there are going to be skills that you will need to either acquire or hire for. Right. And, hiring for those skills is a skill in itself. And so I think at a certain point, like, you need to start, there are going to be other skills, but I think people can get super far with just mastering one thing also.
Yeah, I think they overthink everything. Like, I don't have my website up, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. Dude, you need a payment processor and a phone. That's it. If you can't make $100,000 off of that, you're probably doing something wrong. Right. Right. Heck, $5-10 should be like pennies to you. Right. So I think guys overthink that. They need to, I don't have the right landing page, and
the LLC,
my color scheme is incorrect.
The business license and the
my
DBA
logo isn't perfect yet, all this kind of stuff. So they overthink all of that to the point where, again, they're paralyzed because they want everything to be perfect, and it's never going to be. I think that's one thing. A lot of guys think that we have it all figured out, and we don't. Yeah. I tell guys all the time, I know like 10% of what I'm doing, and 90% of the time I'm flying by the seat of my pants, right? We don't have it all figured out. It doesn't matter what car I'm driving. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making. This is our first time, all of us, doing life. We've never done this before. We're all just going through this for the first time and trying to figure it out as we go along. Now, some of us might be better at things than others, and if you find somebody like that, you should absolutely take the opportunity to learn from them. But don't feel like everything has to be perfect before you actually take a step. Right. You want to go start your own coaching business? You want to be a personal trainer? Sweet. Set up a Stripe or an Easy Pay account. Get a Square or PayPal even, and just start having people pay you and start shooting 1,000 DMs a month. Yeah. Right. Guarantee you'll start making some money. Right. But trying to think that everything has to be figured out and perfect first before you launch, before you get out there, before you actually go try, it's just not feasible, and it's not going to help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of overthinking happening. The one that really bothers me the most is when people get caught up with like the business licenses and stuff.
Oh yeah, I need to go get my LLC filed first before I actually. Yeah, dude, you don't have any money. There's
like what business? Like you don't make any money. And then people they want to obsess over like the documentation and the business licenses and that kind of stuff and the paperwork, when really that's like, bro, just first of all. The minimum you only need to have anything until you make $600 a month, $600 in revenue. Yeah. Right? So if you haven't made any money yet, you don't have a business, don't even worry about it. And plus, you can worry about that at the end of the year when you file your taxes. So.
Yeah, go make 50 grand and then come back and file the LLC with other people's money.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go trying to spend, I got to spend, $500 on the LLC, and then I got to, $3 grand for this guy to help create my website.
But also it takes like 20 minutes to do. Like you can go make a business license online on most cities. If you want to do an LLC, that takes, it takes like half an hour to set it up. So that's like the easiest part. And probably if you're getting stuck on that part, then there's something else going on internally that's preventing you from doing the things that actually matter. Because a lot of times people will do the busy work that doesn't matter because it prevents them from having to do the actually important stuff.
I think it's that, and they like checking the box.
Yeah.
It's fun I did these 20 things today, but nothing that's actually going to help me.
Yeah. I've got people that buy my coaching programs, and then I can't get them on the phone again. Because like they it's like, are we meeting? Like you paid for this. Like, I'll happily take your money, but like I want to help you, and then you don't get responses from it. And the reason why is because they wanted to check a box at one point.
Yeah.
Like I need this coaching before I can do this, so I'm going to go spend the money on the coaching program. And then they spent it, and then they found the next thing to procrastinate on. The other one that really gets me is when people want to spend all this time creating the perfect product. So let's say you want to build an app, and instead of making an MVP or minimally viable product, you're going to do what you believe is the perfect, most amazing, best app, best product in the world. So you spend 5 years developing this amazing app, and then you put it out there and you realize nobody even cares or wants it.
Right.
So what you have to do is start.
And figure out what people want first.
Figure out what people want.
And then perfect it around that.
Exactly. And it's much easier to start with the marketing side. I have a pressure washing business. And what I see people do a lot is they go buy the biggest, fanciest, nicest truck, the best equipment. They wrap the truck. They spent $40,000. And now they're on Facebook groups asking, how do I get my customers? Bro, what? You spent 40 grand on this and you don't know anything about how to get a single customer? Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I spent $300 on a pressure washer, put it in the back of a 93 Saturn, and we just threw it in the back seat and we went to go make some money, And obviously I'm going to do better because I've mastered sales and marketing. I understand that the business most times is more related around sales and marketing than the actual thing you do.
Yeah.
You could be the best dentist, the best Botox, the best tattoo removal, the best whatever it is, but if you don't know how to get sales, and if you don't know sales and marketing, don't know how to acquire customers, you're probably going to struggle. Even if you're the best Botox person in New Jersey, if you don't know how to get clients, you're probably going to be broke, and you're going to be frustrated because the Botox person down the street is going to make more money because they know about sales and marketing.
Oh yeah, that doctor could come around and tell everybody, like, hey, I can make you all look like Madison Beer. But at the same time, if he doesn't have the right marketing around himself and he doesn't know how to actually close those deals and those leads when they come in there, he's not going to make any money.
Yeah.
And the other guy that does the stupid, ads that you're like, oh, these are so dumb, but he's able to actually turn those into leads and close them and convert them.
Yeah.
He's making $1 million a month.
Yeah. So let's say I have a sales team. What are some tips that you can give me to help to train my guys and to help them produce more and ultimately make more money?
Yeah, so a few things. I think number one is having a good culture, right? Having a group of guys that all are there to make money, right? We want these guys and girls to be there. We want them to be hungry. We want them to actually be successful. Not there to, replace their 9-to-5 job with another 9-to-5 job. You want people that came in like, I want to make $100 grand a month. Sweet. That's the kind of guy I want on my team, right? I want to make sure I have that culture. I want to make sure everybody's positive. I want to make sure everybody wants to kick ass, wants to work, wants to make money. Beyond that, I also want to make sure that I have the right processes in place, right? Are we all well trained? Do we all understand what's an objection? What's a smoke screen? What are the actual things that our clients are looking for? And how do we actually create that bridge to the result that they're dreaming of that's going to make them actually pull the trigger and buy? And I think the last piece beyond that is actually having belief in the product you're selling itself. I think we touched on this a little bit in the beginning. If you don't believe that what you're selling is actually good for people, they can feel that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've gone into places before and they're like, forcing something on you and you're just like immediate, what do girls call it, the ick, right? I don't use that word, but that's something that you can feel.
Yeah.
You can feel inauthenticity, right? So the guy that comes up and is kissing your ass, you're like, okay, get away from me, dude. Mm-hmm. But the other dude's like, hey, bro, nice watch. And you're like, oh, thanks, man. That's cool. Right? So I think really believing in what you're actually doing as a service, a software, a program, coaching, whatever it is, as long as you have those three things in place, then you'll crush it. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest piece is that team, though, because if your team isn't solid and they're not trained well, you could probably replace 90% of them today and triple your income next month. Mm-hmm. But having that negativity around, having the guys that are always making excuses, having the dudes that are, not quite, closing deals, but then they always blame the customer, they always blame this or that, as a bad lead. Okay, dude, well, did you try? Did you actually try to overcome it? Was it even a real objection? He said he didn't have time. Okay. Did he really not have time, or did you just give up too early? So a lot of it has to do with the team and the culture you're building around it and just making sure that they're trained correctly.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. And how can people I was just going to ask you about your fitness first. Do you work out?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell guys like, hey, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a personal coach or anything. I did a lot of fitness stuff in my days. I competed with the U.S. Olympic team in Taekwondo. I did Olympic style wrestling. I wrestled in high school and college, and then I went off and did bodybuilding for a little while. Now I just tell guys, they're like, "Oh, are you a trainer? Are you a coach?" I'm like, "No, I just take care of myself. In the same way I'm going to take care of you and your business and your clients."
Nice,
right? So I think if you look at a guy and he's in shape and he takes care of himself, right? There's an immediate amount of respect that you have for someone like that. Where if you look at a guy and you go, oh, he could probably kick my ass, there's an immediate amount of respect that you have for that guy. And that translates into the business world, because the dude that walks in with a big beer belly, even if he walks in a fucking Canali suit, right? Mm-hmm. People could miss him. They won't notice him, or they just see this fat guy that just walked in, regardless of how nice his clothes are or what watch he's wearing. Whereas I could walk into that exact same place wearing a black t-shirt and jeans, and people will notice me.
Right.
And that's just something that you want to have, that sort of, I'm here mentality. And that confidence that comes with being in shape, and that respect that you get from other men and women in business and the business world and transactions, it's not replaceable with anything else.
Yeah.
Right. I could take off my watch, my cars, and everything else and walk into the same place, and I'll get the same amount of respect versus a guy that were walking, big, fat, man boobs hanging out of his shirt. It's just not something that, in my opinion, any guy should have. There's no reason for any guy to be fat and out of shape. With all the resources and all the technology and all the training and free coaching and everything online, if you can't take care of yourself, I won't hire you. I won't bring you into my business. I'll coach you, but you're not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Because if I can't trust you to take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of my company?
Right. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is having a leadership presence. Like if you walk into the room and you look like a leader, and something I learned in the military is like, what does a leader look like? Well, they take care of themselves. They're physically fit. They speak well. They speak with a commanding presence. They are organized. So these types of things, the way you stand, right, your posture, these types of things influence how people perceive you. And having a leadership presence is going to help people want to follow you, because at the end of the day, you can't help someone to do something. The expression "don't take advice from somebody that you wouldn't want to trade places with." Yeah. If I see I don't care how rich you are. If you're fat and ugly, I probably wouldn't want to trade places with you.
Yeah, they say that, it was a commander leads from the front of the army, right?
That's right?
I can't expect other people to do something I'm not willing to do.
Yeah.
If I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not making good money, if I'm not taking care of my family and being respectful to people, I can't expect you to do the same thing.
Yeah. So how often are you working out?
It's probably like 6 or 7 days a week.
Damn.
Yeah, I love working out. That's why I get shocked when guys tell me like, I just don't get, how do I get the motivation? I had 2 or 3 dudes message me this week asking me how to motivate themselves or what do they do differently.
What did you apply to them?
Dude, I said, I have full-on conversations. If you DM me on Instagram, I will have a full-on conversation with you trying to snap you out of it, but also be brutally honest. If I think you're just being, kind of a wuss and you're being down on yourself and it's not helping you at all, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, these guys will message me telling me that they're out of shape, they're not feeling motivated, they feel depressed. And I'll tell them straight up, you're not depressed. You feel depressed because you're fat and out of shape. you need to go to the gym. I guarantee if you went to the gym and you started working out harder and you have this extra time that you're sitting around watching Netflix and TV and you got a second part-time job to make some more money, you would be too busy to care about all this other bullshit. And you'd be in way better shape and you'd probably start being a lot less depressed. You wake up in the morning with a six-pack and, an extra 10, 20 grand in your bank account that month, guarantee you're not going to be depressed anymore. Yeah. But yeah, I get shocked when dudes tell me that they don't have the motivation. It's my favorite part of the day.
Well, you know what? Motivation is not the issue. People, for some reason, think motivation is required, but I started going to the gym. So I've always been pretty active, but I recently started a routine of waking up like 4:30 and going to the gym, being the first one at the gym at 5 o'clock when they open. That's not motivation. That, at one point, it just becomes a routine.
It's discipline.
It just becomes discipline. It becomes something that I just do, And I don't need to like wake up and listen to Tony Robbins in order to go to the gym. I just, at a certain point, it just becomes what you do.
Yeah.
And it's harder to go to the gym once or twice a week than it is to go to the gym 5 days a week.
1,000%. I think it's easier to go every day.
Yeah.
And just be sore than it is to be like, oh, I already skipped yesterday, so I can go to bed. They're like, oh, I can skip one more day.
Yeah.
I think taking even one day off is like, it just makes it easier to fall into a funk. So even if I go and just kind of get like a little full body pump or stretch out and roll around on the mats and maybe get a light workout in with my shoulders, that's still better for me than sitting at home, because I always know that no matter how sore and tired I am, if I go, I got something done and I feel better about myself for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And for me, it's like the routine is so big, because it's just like when it becomes something you just do, something just part of your day, it no longer is something that I have to like get the urge and the will and the motivation to get up and do. Because then it's like I have to break my routine to go to the gym, whereas the gym is my routine.
Well, this is like the one thing where you're going to live this life whether you like it or not. If you're alive, if you're watching this right now, this is your one shot.
Yeah.
This time is going to pass whether you go to the gym or not, whether you work or not. If you make 100 grand a month or 10 grand a month, this time is going to go by. You are not going to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how you choose to spend that time is up to you. Do you want to be in amazing shape with a beautiful wife, with beautiful kids, and a great house, nice cars, and tons of money in the bank? Or do you want to be struggling to pay the bills, worried about where your kids are going to go to school, worried about what teachers are teaching them, worried about whether you're going to have enough money in the bank to take everybody out to Thanksgiving dinner, or what kind of life do you want to live? Yeah. So if I'm going to go to the gym, it's not even a question. This time's going by whether I want to or not. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Do I want to make that extra money every month? Sure, but it's going to pass either way, so I'm going to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the same approach everybody should have. I think people think they have too much time, and they really don't.
It's true.
I could die tomorrow, and at least at this point, I have enough where I could hand off some good funds to my family and a good business, and they'd be able to live a comfortable life, right? And a lot of guys can't say that. So I think a lot of guys should take a little bit of self-reflection when you want to go stand in the mirror, listen to a Tony Robbins speech or whatever it is for you. Every guy should kind of take stock of where they're at right now and look like, hey, look, I'm this many years old. This is what I've accomplished so far. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
I could be better, and we could all be better. But I think that's something every guy should do every once in a while, is look at where they're at, and is there room to improve? Yes. What could I do to be better? And then go do that.
Yeah. Those 5 years are going to pass, whether you're doing something good at those time or not. One block that I had was like, oh, I don't want to jiu-jitsu. Before I got into jiu-jitsu, I don't want to start jiu-jitsu because I'm so bad at it. It's going to take me years to get good. Well, the years are going to go by one way or another. And so in 5 years from now, do I want to be good at jiu-jitsu or do I not want to be? I want to be. Okay, so you have to train during those 5 years, because those 5 years will pass whether you train or not.
Yeah, and you're going to start at 30 and be good by 35, or do you want to be amazing at a black belt by 30 already?
Right.
Right? You guys that are 21 years old that aren't starting anything now because you're too young or you don't have enough money or whatever. It's just a bunch of excuses.
Yeah.
Could you go get a second job? Could you open a credit card? Could you, go work some more for your dad's company? Could you just stop going out with your friends and drinking and partying so much? Stop chasing girls. Work on yourself. That time's going to go by whether you like it or not. I think that's one thing I try to actually remind dudes of, like, dude, I know life's great right now, or you're only 19 years old, or you're 35 years old, or you're 50 years old. You're going to die. And you don't have as much time as you think. Mm-hmm. I think the average lifespan for a guy right now is 72, 75, something like that.
Yeah.
I'll get guys that are 40, 50 years old, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm just it's not a good time right now. I'm like, dude, you have 20 years. maybe 15. Like especially if you're not taking care of yourself, maybe you got 5. How do you want to spend the last few of it? Right? You only get one shot at this life. I don't want to live a mediocre one.
Right. Hell yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Well, tell us how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, man. So the easiest thing, just shoot me a DM through Instagram. Is I am Cory Porter. IAM CORYPORTER.
Cool. Put in the link.
Yeah, just shoot me a link. Shoot me a DM. Message me. I respond to everything myself. There's no VA. There's no assistant. I have that for other stuff, but for this kind of thing, it's all authentically me. So while it's still that, just shoot me a message, and I'll reply back to every single one of you.
Dope. Cool. Anything else you want to tell the audience? Anything else you want to get out?
Yeah, man. I think the last thing I'll leave it with is you guys always think that you have more time. And it's very easy to put stuff aside. It's very easy to put things off until things are better or until you feel like you're in the right situation to make a move. It's never going to be the perfect time. If you guys want to make more money, if you guys want a better life, if you guys want to be in more shape, if you guys want to hang out with more high status guys and make a better life for yourself, now is the time. This video is your opportunity or your permission to say, okay, today's the day. Cory gave me permission. Now it's time to go kick some ass.
Hell yeah.
Stop making excuses.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on.
Cool, bro. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Thanks, guys. Another episode of the A-Lister Show. Make sure you all like, subscribe, do all that crazy shit, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.